Hey guys, Allison here. Well, I have a question for you. Do you like being right? I love being right. Oh, it's so gratifying, especially when playing a game or something. I love being right. However, there are times where we have to ask ourselves this question. Would I rather be right or would I rather be happy? I've observed over time with people, there are certain people that no, they got to get that last word in. They have to be right. They have to justify their position. And they find themselves constantly at odds with people or broken relationships and not understanding why and feeling really hurt by it. Now, I think one of the reasons that we have that compulsion to be right is that we feel weak or we feel vulnerable admitting we're wrong. And maybe because we've been abused in the past or maybe we've had trauma in the past. So we don't feel safe if we're not right. We feel like it's just telling us that we're no good if we're wrong about something. But I think we have to really think about it. Why do you need to be right on something? Sometimes it's a difference of opinion. Sometimes it's a difference of perspective on a situation. Now, as a marriage counselor over the years, I could see the same situation described by a husband and wife very differently because they're seeing it through their perspective, through their lens, through their experience, through their own needs. And they could both be right in essence, and yet they can be very polarized and apart. If you find yourself constantly in situations where you're at odds with people, well, one thing I want to say, every emotion does not need to be expressed. Now, in order to be emotionally healthy, we need to be in touch with our emotions, which means we need to experience them, we need to be able to identify them, and we need to guide them by reason. So sometimes reason will be like, I don't really need to express this emotion right now. All right, if my boss really pisses me off, I don't necessarily have to tell him, right? I might go home, take out the want ads and look for another job. Or I might wait until I calm down and talk to him about it another time. Or maybe I think about, well, what do I want out of this situation? Rather than just complain about it, maybe I can come up with a solution that I can present. It's our intellect guiding our emotions. Our reason is guiding our emotions. But if you find that you're constantly in conflict, ask yourself this question. Would I rather be right or would I rather be happy? Because I think the essence of having happy relationships is, number one, knowing when to express emotions and when not to. Knowing, depending on the relationship too. Obviously, if it's not a very intimate relationship, maybe it's a casual friendship, acquaintance, whatever, you don't need to constantly tell people how you feel because ultimately you're probably looking for them to change. And that's where you're getting frustrated. Sometimes we need to just let people be who they are and just act accordingly. I've had friends in the past, like one in particular, that really just annoyed me and really was behaving very badly. But at this point, it didn't make any... I saw no benefit in bringing it up. I just acted accordingly. I put a little bit more space there. It wasn't the most important relationship. Now, obviously, in an intimate relationship, in a marriage, and say if you're engaged, if you're in a serious relationship, that is important that you learn how to identify your emotions, express how you feel and what you need and why it matters, because that helps people to get the perspective. When I understand that, when I do this, it makes somebody feel this way because maybe it's connected to something in their past, I can be very sympathetic that way. But if I don't take the time to think about that and I just have to be right, I'm going to find myself with a string of broken relationships. So sometimes you may even know you're right and they don't know it, and you can just walk away knowing you're right, and you don't have to prove it to anybody, and you just need to let it stay where it is because sometimes people aren't open to hearing it. But again, if you have to be right, chances are you're not going to be very happy. So give that some thought. If you do find yourself struggling constantly in stuff like this, in relationships and having a lot of broken relationships, reach out to a Catholic therapist and find out what the underlying causes are, and steps you can take to make it better, to take the sting out, to heal the past and the trauma so you can move in the future with freedom. So I hope you find that helpful. God bless you.